been happening a lot where I live. So
Okay, awesome. So, welcome to this week's episode of Monday Biz Motivation with the Culver City Chamber. I'm Candance Simmons, board member and owner of All That and More Boutique. I have the pleasure of hosting this segment with my co host, Rafia Cooper, who's a Culver City Chamber ambassador. She's also a business owner. She owns Rafia Jewelry. And the Culver City Chamber created this platform to introduce you to some of the amazing business owners that serve the Culver City community. As you know, one of the missions of the Culver City Chamber is to connect people, resources, and ideas. And that's exactly what this platform has done. We've had an awesome time with some amazing business owners, and we can't wait to share this week's business owner, organization owner with you. I'm going to turn it over to Rafi, and she's going to share our guests with you.
Thank you, Candance. Good afternoon to
Oh.
everyone. And I can't wait to hear all about our guests. But before I do, I just want to remind everybody watching to please make your comments and questions, and we will read them out loud and answer any questions of any of us. So without further delay, we have Alisha White Madison with us from the Bella Network. Welcome, Alisha.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So tell me, or tell all of us, a little bit about your organization and what you do and how you got started.
So the organization got started because as a career professional, I've been in corporate America for over 20 years. I realized that there was so much that many Black and brown women weren't familiar with in how to maneuver through the corporate politics. They weren't getting answered some of the things that were specific to our challenges and our opportunities. And so I wanted to make sure there was a place where women could go, where they could get the best practices and get their questions answered by people that look like them, that had experienced some of the same things that they had experienced. And they didn't have to kind of figure it out on their own, by themselves, feeling isolated in this huge corporate arena. And so there lies the reason behind the need for an organization like the Bella Network. So
Okay.
we share best practices, we do workshops, all focused on how to create better leaders or more informed leaders on how to overcome challenges that are specific to Black and brown women in corporate America or as professionals. So we have a lot of business owners that are a part of it. We have attorneys, doctors, lawyers, judges, the full gamut.
Wonderful. So can you give us an example of some of the challenges?
So the one that we're doing this week, and a part of the Black History Month, is defeating imposter syndrome. So many, specifically more women and people of color, have this challenge with feeling as though someone's going to figure out that they don't belong either in the room or that their work is not at the right caliber. And so we're talking about how to overcome the actual bad habit of devaluing yourself. Many people feel like, oh, I do my affirmations every day. But affirmations don't work unless you hit the specific cue or trigger that causes your imposter syndrome. And if you haven't figured out what that is, you need to, because that's the only way you're going to overcome that bad habit. And so
Wow.
for minorities and people of color, a lot of it's what our culture, our community, our environment, our family has said to us. And so we demystify those bad feelings or bad conversations.
Okay.
Alicia, can you share also some of the corporations that you yourself have worked in and the ones?
Oh,
Yes.
that's a long list. So for many years, I was a consultant. And so I've worked here in California. I've worked for Mattel. I've worked for Thermador and Bosch. I've worked for LAUSD. I've worked for the gas company. I have done consulting for farmers insurance companies. So I've been probably almost in every industry just here in California. I've been in the oil industry. I've worked for Chevron. I've worked for Amoco. I did BP Amoco's merger and acquisition. So I'm a merger and acquisition specialist. I'm a continuous improvement specialist. Let's see, gosh, I haven't even finished yet. I've worked out of the country. I've worked in Canada. So I've been abroad. There's a long list. I've actually worked for, I think it's 18 different companies. And my mother would always say, can't you just keep a job? But with consulting, you could be with one company for 1 year and then move on to the next company. So I've worked in a lot of different companies, a lot of different industries.
Well, that's
and currently
because you get to meet a lot more people and
a lot of people.
Yeah. It's
and
way
that
more
helps
fun.
me with the Bella Network because I get to hear from a lot of different industries and what they've experienced in those industries and different roles. And so it helps with what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're degreed in?
Oh, that's a whole nother story. I have a degree in chemistry. I started out pre-med. My mom wanted me to be a neuro scientist and become a neurosurgeon. And I just changed midstream. So I was in my first year of medical school and I decided I wanted to go into business. So I got my MBA. Mm-hmm. So I have my master's in business administration from Howard. And I have been loving being on the side of business.
Awesome. Awesome. So as you were saying, I know my first experience with the Bella Network, you were doing various series where you had amazing topics and they all resonated with me. But the one thing I just remember your first annual conference.
Yes.
And can you talk about some of the topics that you covered and some of the guest speakers that you had there?
Well, so last year was our 5th year with the conference, and it's hard to believe that we've done it for 5 consecutive years. But the first year we did it, we were blessed to have Richard Lawson, and he's an actor, and he came in and spent hours with us, as well as his beautiful wife, Tina Knowles. And we talked about the whole conceptual thing about finding our purpose and living our purpose, and then knowing how to act in a way that fulfilled the role of whatever position that we were in. And so it's like how to show up, how to leverage your body language, your face, all of those different things to be present in your purpose. And so we talk a lot about finding our purpose, living our purpose, being in purpose, and then being intentional and strategic about everything that we do. And so a lot of our conversations are about that. For 2 years with our conference, we focused on the 3 things that a lot of women business owners aren't taught. The first one is to really understand business acumen. You have to understand your industry, not just your business. So if you're a jewelry maker, you have to understand what are other jewelry makers doing? What is the language of a jewelry maker? How do I do my budgeting in order to be able to speak to potential vendors or suppliers so that I get the best deal for my industry? And that's all about business acumen. And a lot of people will just know what they're doing in their company, but you have to know what the industry and what your competitors are doing and how to speak to them. The other thing we point out is about strategic thinking. It's not strategic planning, it's strategic thinking. How do you think through things? And by doing that, instead of working your way through problems, you'll figure out how to resolve things before they become a problem. And then the last thing that we stress, especially to women, is about showing up and being present in the moment and not worrying about what you don't know, but be willing to ask the questions so that you do know and be comfortable with that. And there's always ways, and that's kind of the best practices that we teach, is how to ask in a way that someone doesn't say, well, why is she here? She doesn't seem like she should be here because she doesn't know enough. There's ways to ask. There's things that you do in order to come across as, the appropriate person for whatever role you're in, but to get the information you need and feeling confident in asking the right questions or questions.
Awesome. Yeah, I've enjoyed many of those sessions, and I also enjoyed the one where you talked about how to get invited into the circle.
Oh,
We did.
you can't tell everybody that trick because then everybody will use it. But as a Bella member, you know how to enter any circle
Yes.
and to have people like just open up the circle just for you. So yes, that is a best practice that we let everybody in on. Should we tell them the secret, Candace?
It's up to you. It's your secret sauce. I was just saying I
I
can
I
say
don't know. I
it.
think that's a Bella secret that we'll keep.
I think you should keep it and have folks join in and experience it because it's something you have to experience.
Yeah, and
So,
it's the easiest thing to do.
so is the Bella Network something that you have to join, or is it something that you do workshops and stuff? So can you tell
So
us how we, go ahead.
Yeah, so we do have workshops. Pretty much anyone could come to our workshops. They're very inexpensive. And so, yes, you can come to our workshops. But to be a member, there is a membership base. It's $200 a year, or you can come on for $25 a month. And that gives you access to our workshops.
Okay.
And then we also have once a month, we have a 2-hour Ask Us Any Question group coaching session that we offer, and that's members only. You have to be a part of the membership to come to those sessions. So what we've done is we've wanted to make it very enticing for people to come and learn. We have a lot of high level consultants and coaches and business professionals that are part of our organization and that are on our advisory board that come and they make themselves available so that women and people of color can have the opportunity to ask whatever question and feel comfortable when they go back to their business or their work that they're on the right path to resolving whatever opportunity challenge that lays in front of them.
Awesome.
So.
Okay. That's wonderful. Okay, so I guess all three of us have been in a corporate background before. So
Yeah.
this sounds to me like, did you do any HR work as well in corporations?
You know, I've never been in HR. I've never been in diversity, but in most instances, the companies where I've worked didn't really have a diversity organization. And so that, you know, I kind of steered towards making sure that other people felt as comfortable as I did. I come from a very strong family, so I had a lot of support. I had a lot of people within my circle of influence that had already worked their way up the ladder. And so I had the opportunity to ask people the questions that I had. But I saw with some of the other women or people of color that I worked with that they didn't have what I had. And so I wanted to share who I had, who I knew with my friends, with other women within the companies where I worked. Especially as a consultant, you would go in there and I'd be working with CEOs and vice presidents. And I saw where there were, you know, in most instances, I was the only person in the room that looked like me. It was mostly white men. And so that gave me that kind of window into, you know, that world. And then I've had the opportunity to deal with a lot of small businesses. I have another small business that I run with my husband as well. And so I get to see some of the challenges that we work through as business owners. And again, as women and people of color, we have limited access to things because we, again, can't go and just ask someone within our circle if we don't have people within our circle that are attaining high and higher levels within their business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, allowing people to have some of that influence that I have.
How long has the Bella Network been available to everyone?
So this is our 6th year. So January, we started our 6th year. Last year, November, we had our 5th conference. We did have it. I was excited to be able to do it. We've always done a live conference where it was one-on-one, face-to-face with people. And, you know, that allows you to create that strong relationship with other business owners and other corporate people. And I tell business owners that it's really important to be in the room with corporate people, and corporate people, it's really important to be in the room with other business owners, because you can learn from each other. There's so much dynamics where you can help each other and learn from each other. And so we're just excited that this is our 6th year. Last year we did it all virtual, and it was amazing, because we were able to include people outside of the LA area, and then the dynamics of hearing a perspective from somebody in Texas and somebody in DC really added to the conversation, and it made it a very vibrant conversation for people in LA to hear about what other areas were doing, either similar or dissimilar to them. So it was a wonderful experience.
Absolutely. Congratulations on 6 years. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Definitely. So, Alisha, one of the things that we like to ask our guests is how have they either pivoted or shifted or adjusted based on COVID. And I know you shared that the Bella Network was all. Hey, Giovanni. Giovanni jumped in and she says, glad I'm able to pop in.
Giovanni is our controller for the Bella Network. So we're excited
nice.
that she popped in. Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. So how we pivoted is, like I said, most of our events were live in-person events. We would have, it could be 20 to 100 women all together in a space doing our workshops and involved in what we were doing. And so now with the whole social distancing and having to stay at home, we had to go live on Zoom. So, having to figure out all the dynamics of using these new tools. And so we were able to pivot. All of our conferences have been multiple days. So for our conference, we always started at 8 in the morning and we'd go until 10 p.m. So doing a Zoom session and being live the whole time. And then we started doing the Facebook Live and all of that. We had to pivot more in our content because a lot of our women don't want to openly share to the world. You only want to share with people that are in the room that you built some camaraderie with. So that kind of put a limitation on how much interaction and how much conversation we had. And so a lot of the stuff we do, we can't just go live. But having Zoom and being able to do the smaller breakout rooms has really been beneficial because it allows us to expand beyond our local community. And so we're really valuing and appreciating that.
Yeah, this technology is wonderful, but you're right. It does encompass more of, everybody kind of watching you. So it makes a little bit of a difference, the privacy issue.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned the camaraderie and building the trust to
Yeah.
share. It's like that's something that you definitely experience in the room. And I think you also get that when you do those breakout sessions where it's a small group of people. You could probably get that as well. So when you think about the viewers and the folks that we generally are speaking to here on Monday Biz Motivation, they're business owners, they're mom and pop shops, and women that are they are either realtors and people that own smaller businesses and some of the larger corporations as well. But if there was a common thread that as you hosted your event through the COVID period, if there was a common thread that you think folks could benefit from knowing, like a key piece of information that stood out to you, what would that be that could help our viewers?
So for the Bella Network, as a member, there are 3 things that we insist that you do when you first start your membership. And we always talk about how to check your face. And that your face is what's empowering you. And it's either empowering you or it's empowering someone else. And that's critical as a business owner, that you know what message you're sending all the time. For me, my normal comfort face was like a scour, it's like I'm thinking, and that's not empowering me. And so I had to figure out what's the face that's going to empower me, that's going to get people to see me and trust me. And so that's one of the first things that we make sure that as a professional you know what your face is saying at all times, and you control the message. And there's tips and tricks, and Candace knows that I have little special tricks and tips that I show people on how to make sure that your face is always saying, and it's consistent with your message, because you don't want to do something that insults someone and then you don't even know you did it. So
I'm
one of
sorry.
our
I'm laughing because I think I'm envisioning your story that you just put up with the faces. I was like, okay, okay, now I'm
yeah,
back.
I finally got figured out how to do TikTok. So I just loaded these three. I think they're funny
They are.
TikTok videos. And the three of them are all about our critical skills. So the one is your face, checking your face. The second one is about imposter syndrome and really understanding the messages that fly through your head. And then the third one is about relationships. And it's not about the fact that people know you, it's about the fact that people think of you. Okay. And why do they think of you? And many times as women, we don't always share what we do, what's going on. We talk about our kids, we talk about everything but our business. And so it's all about bite-sized bragging. Women hate for people to brag. Why are you well, she's always bragging and telling people. No, watch what men do. Men don't pitch, men brag. And they do it in bite-sized pieces as a part of the conversation. So you should always be dropping these nuggets about you, yourself, your business, what you're accomplishing, because you never know who's listening, and you never know who's in the room, and you never know what deal they can help you pull off. So
Yeah.
if you're
That's so
not bragging
interesting.
about you,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so interesting that you say that, because that was really how I dealt with being at trade shows. So with my business, I did a lot of trade shows, and I would always say 80% of what I sell is my relationship with my customers,
Yes.
and 20% is my product. And so, I can make a good product, you're going to love it, or you're going to not, it's not going to be for you. It's not for everyone, right? But it's the connection that you make when you meet someone. It's that relationship that you build that gets you your client, your customer, whatever you want to call, and keeps them there with you.
Yeah. And the story. So it could be the story behind your necklaces or your earrings, or, why did you use that specific stone? And that's kind of the whole brag bite thing. And so you have to be able to brag about yourself.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. But you do it in a way that it doesn't sound like you're bragging.
And that is the lesson. You have to learn how to do it. You can't just, most people can't just do it. There's a lesson, there's a best practice to it, and we teach you how to do it. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Alisha, for sharing. It's been an honor to be a part of the Bella Network, and I get so excited when you offer a session or you're speaking. And when you think about the Bella Network and how it has impacted women, you mentioned judges, you mentioned attorneys, you mentioned just various people that are part of the Bella Network. Is there a particular success story, since we talked about bragging, that you could share about the Bella Network?
Well, we have so many
I know.
for our business owners. I mean, even with Candace, one of the things that I loved with Candace is one of my second year doing a conference, we supported Candace at her salon, her store. And I think you said that was your number one selling day. And our women just love Candace. And so now she's created clientele from these corporate women that every time I go, I'm like, oh, aren't you supposed to be at work? Because there's somebody in there buying something from Candace or ordering it from online. So just from coming and being a part of our conversation, she was able to build her clientele. And so I just love that. I mean, so you are one of our success stories. And our women are always saying, are we going back to all that and more this year with the conference? So I love doing events at her location. from a business or corporate perspective, oh, we have so many. Actually, Giovanni, who was just on the line, she was able, through using some of our best practices, she was able to secure a fabulous position, making way more money. And she used some of the tips that she learned. We had a special person come in, one of the top negotiators in the country, come and talk about how to negotiate your salary and how to negotiate a new position and how to leverage positions. Giovanni took that, and within months, she was on her way, got a new position, got a way bigger salary. I was like, wow. So it's all about how you leverage the information, but we have some of the top people. So yeah, there's so many success stories.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
great.
really, when you think about creating something, with purpose, and you see those, the seeds that you plant continue to grow, and they stretch out and they branch. And I know Giovanni particularly, how, she comes in, she's a breath of fresh air, she's always sharing. And when I attend the Bella sessions, that's generally what I get. And to have been in the room with some of the women, and I love calling them, you're a hidden figure. Some of the women that have worked on, large projects, and they were actually those hidden figures because of what they
Yeah.
contributed to organizations and companies that I experienced by attending the sessions at the Bella Network. So I'm always in good company when I attend. Even the session last week that you had on defeating
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, there were some amazing women in the room. And so it's
We
always
had a
super
lot
great.
of executives that came that were
Mhm.
we had a vice president and COO of a hospital here in LA. We
Mhm.
had a lot of high level diversity and inclusion people. Yeah, we had a lot of people in the room. And like Candace said, we have a lot of some top STEM professionals. One of our advisors was one of the first directors for a major Fortune 500 company, and she became a director for this company back in the early 80s. Do you know how big of a deal to be an African American woman in the early 80s, a director for a Fortune 500 in STEM? She was an engineer. That's
Wow.
huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. So
Yes.
So you're still working, right? You're working in corporate America still
yes.
currently, and you do this on the side.
And, yes, and I still have a small business as well. Yes.
Okay.
So my husband and I have real estate. We have properties that we manage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
You're certainly an underachiever.
Hey, I'm Jamaican, man. You got to have 10 jobs, man. You're slacking.
That's a lot. When do you sleep?
Sleep? There's no such thing. I can sleep when I'm dead. But
Awesome.
it's been wonderful speaking with you guys.
That's
It's been
great.
wonderful
So
having you.
yes. Do you want to ask her our weekly question,
Sure.
Candance?
So this is Monday Biz Motivation, Alisha, and we love to ask our guests, and we share ourselves. What's your motivation? What motivates you to do what you do?
I am motivated by all the successes that I see. So for me, in my 20s, growing up in corporate America, it was a lonesome road. And I just love linking women together so that they don't feel that same isolation that, many women feel because they're the only person that they see, either as they go into a meeting, as they reflect with who's in their company. I mean, it's just amazing how there's still only like single digits of us in leadership roles within corporations. If you look at who are the C-suite executives, we're not always there. And I just want to make sure that every woman or person of color that is interested in climbing the ladder, that they have the tools and the best practices to make sure that they get there. So that's what motivates me.
That's awesome.
All right, Rafia, what's your motivation for this week, or what motivates you in general?
Well, this last week I've been doing other creative things besides just jewelry. And now I've posted today a little collaboration within myself of what other creativity I had and posted it with my jewelry. So, it kind of spruces it up and gives me a fresh thinking and fresh ideas and fresh look for the jewelry, as well as just doing something different for a change.
Awesome.
And what about you?
Sure. My motivation this week, I decided I'm going to have a theme week, and it's to give and get information.
Okay.
There's so much going on that, it's so important to be in a position to share. And, you can only share by getting information and giving it out and, owning what you know. And so I'm planning there's various sessions that I'm attending this week to get information and then give it. Speaking of which, there's several calendar events that are happening with the chamber, but just positioning myself to know that this is it's a challenging time, but it's probably one of the best times because the mobility distractions aren't there. The time that I would waste going from one place to another, or that I'd have to spend going from one place to another, I don't have to do that anymore. But I can click on, there's all these new platforms like Clubhouse and all these new things where there's so much information out there. But just making sure that I'm taking in as much as I can, knowing that I don't have to move around as much to engage. So my focus this week is to give and get information.
I can't wait to hear.
And so speaking of getting information, there's 3 events that the Culver City Chamber has this week on our calendar. So our upcoming events, the first one is today, which is our biweekly COVID Business Roundtable. It's happening today at 2:30, but it's an opportunity for us to hear from the various council members of Culver City. Colin Diaz, the president, put this roundtable in place to create a platform where business owners that are impacted by COVID-19 can come to one place and gather information. Our economic recovery department is a part of these discussions as well. So if you're a business owner and you're looking to find out what's happening today as it relates to COVID that you need to shift to, the roundtable discussions are a great place to be, where you can ask questions of, the various groups that I just mentioned to make sure you're staying in compliance or that you're able to move forward and shift as those changes happen as a result of COVID.
That's great.
So next up, you want to cover this one, Rafia?
So so we have the joint Thirsty Thursday from, we're joining with the Chamber of Greater San Fernando Valley and also West Hollywood, Oceanside, and Vista chambers are going to join together for a Thirsty Thursday, February 25th, which is this Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. And I'm assuming you need to register for that, right?
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And you can register on the chamber website.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming up also is What Can the Chamber Do for You, which is this Friday, 10:30 to 12. It's a great opportunity where the staff and the president of the chamber is going to let business owners know, hey, these are the services that the chamber offers. Here's how we advocate for you. Here's how we help you engage with like-minded business owners as well. And there's so much that the Culver City Chamber has done for my business. I'm going to attend again because I know there's so much more that the Culver City Chamber can do for all of us as long as we agree to engage and participate. So we encourage you to register.
It's great that they offer that,
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So brand new company. Oh yeah, our website is out there.
Mm-hmm. Our new website, which goes live Monday, March 1st, catered to our Eat, Shop, Stay, Play business in Culver City, discoverculver.com.
Oh, that's going to be great, where you can click on Discover Culver and find out all the businesses that are here in Culver City and what we offer. So excited about that as well.
Mhm.
So, Alisha, you have been an amazing guest. We appreciate you taking the
Thank
time
you.
out away from your 10 jobs to come and share about the Bella Network. I think it's an amazing organization to be a part of and to have you have created with the mission of helping women to do better in all that we possess in our businesses and in our companies. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. It was really nice meeting you as well.
It's nice to meet you as well. Is there anything, last kind of words that you want to say to anybody out there?
You know what? Join us. It's a fun organization. If you think work is not fun, you are not a part of the Bella Network. So we learn how to make every day showing up at work just the best day ever. So
It should be fun.
join us. Yeah,
Mhm.
it should
You
be. You
should.
spend so much time there.
Right.
Exactly. And you should love what you're doing. And if you
Yes.
don't love what you're doing, let's think about that again, What
Right.
And
do you
if you
think?
feel comfortable in what you're doing, you're going to love it. So sometimes it's all about how you know, who you know, and what you know that makes you love what you do.
That's
Exactly.
wonderful.
And
Thank you for your empowering words, and thank you for joining us. Anybody out there that has a business that want to come on to our Monday Biz Motivation, please contact us or the chamber. And we shall see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.